Hi, this is Julie Jara from New Frequency Healing. One of the biggest questions, in fact probably the biggest mystery about energy healing, is why I don't need to diagnose or why I don't need to know what's wrong or your symptoms in order to facilitate a healing. And I think this is explained really well in the philosophy of Ayurveda, which is one of the world's oldest holistic healing systems. One important thing is that we can't separate physical, mental, emotional, spiritual healing. They do all go together, but I'm using the term physical healing for this just to give some context to it. And I'm going to go through the 5 stages till we get to disease. So the first thing is that we go into what we call accumulation. We're out of balance. We're not in flow. And this can be caused by so many different things. It can be caused by stress in your life, relationship, family or work worries, financial worries. It can be just lifestyle, not getting enough sleep, not eating a balanced diet, environmental stress, which we have a lot of right now. It can be just not happy or fulfilled in what you're doing in life. Or it can be that you might be experiencing a type of a spiritual awakening where you just don't know where you fit any longer. And what happens is the information that you're receiving in is not being processed properly. Or the food, in addition, the food that you're eating is not being digested. Because we've got this out of balance situation happening. And an example of this I've thought for me is like I might be getting prepared to even just see a client or run an event, and I think I'll just quickly eat beforehand, and I find I really can't eat, and it's because my body is preparing for something else. And yet in our modern life, we find very often we're doing this all the time. I'll just quickly eat to move on to the next thing. Or yes, I'll just quickly check these, 2,000 emails before I do something. So we've got all this information and yet we haven't been able to process it. The next stage we go into, we can call aggravation. And this is where physical symptoms will start to show up. It can be something like indigestion, mucus, heat, asthma, not sleeping well. You know what your symptoms are, what happens. And we often at this point self-medicate. We think, well, I just need to have more juices and I'll feel better. I'll just need to take this medication here and that always works. I'll feel better now. And it might fix it. And what I do suggest you don't self-diagnose when you're taking medication. There are plenty of really good herbalists, naturopaths, doctors that can really have a look and help you with what you need. However, we often do that. We might have a bit of a headache and we'll just take some analgesic for that because we're used to doing it. If you do it more than just every now and then, though, there's something going on. And eventually it leads to the next stage, number 3, spreading. And this is where we really realize that we're not feeling good. We might get achy, foggy in the head, heaviness. We might experience anxiety or depression. And we're actually, at this point, too tired to do anything. We're too tired to go and get help or to exercise. Which you probably should not be doing at this point because all your energy is being used to detoxify. The body is very intelligent. It knows what it needs to do. So if you're tired a lot, it means you probably need to rest and then address what's going on. And the next point we call localization, and that's where you're actually noticing and recognizing pain. So as I said, the body is very intelligent. It realizes by this stage that it can't get rid of the toxins that are building up and accumulating in your body, and so it decides to store them. And what it's going to do is take that and store it in a weakness, in an area that's weak. So it could be where you've had an injury in the past. It could be a genetic predisposition. it could be an emotional issue. So in psychosomatics, which I studied quite a long time ago, it looks at the areas of thought that we have as that corresponds to the physical body. So if we're thinking a certain thought pattern, it corresponds to a part of the body, and that's where the toxins might be stored. There's no diagnosis at this point. You don't know what's wrong with you. But you might find that if you do therapy or take some medication, anti-inflammatories or other medication at this point, the pain might go, and yay, the pain's gone, which is what we all want. I understand that, of course. When I have pain, I want it gone. But we're not healed. We have to continue with that therapy, or we continue with that medication in order to feel okay. And so eventually, after we continue along that path, we go to number 5, which is dis-ease. Western medicine is very good at diagnosing and giving names to these issues. And finally, you know what your problem is. You know what it's called. And it becomes, well, look, here's symbolic, my tumor. It's my tumor. Or it might be my arthritis, my heart disease, my addiction. It's mine. I've had it for quite a long time because, generally they say these, by the time you get diagnosed, sometimes we think it's just sudden, it's just happened, but the reality is it's taken a long time to build this up. It's taken a long time to develop this, and it's because probably you've been ignoring some of the signs earlier on. But by this stage, you actually own it. And I've heard so many people talk about their disease as if it's something that they cherish and own, and it's part of them now. In many other natural therapies, we don't name diseases so well. It's good to know that, there might actually be a treatment or a drug that might actually relieve your symptoms, maybe even cure it. However, what was the cause in the first place? It's back to number 1. It was being out of balance in your life. It is still there. You still might have that lack of balance. As an energy healthcare practitioner, my role is to help you attune to a higher level of energy, light, and information in order to get back into balance. So I don't look at the diagnosis. I'm not working down at that level of the actual symptoms and the disease. I really don't care about this. I've seen, I have been working with this for over 15 years. I've seen quite strong symptoms disappear immediately, within a day or two. So we do recommend 1, 2, or 3 sessions, and very often there can be a huge life shift. So how I think it works, I'm holding the new frequencies of healing. This is the level of that. It's vibrating at a very high level, and you come in and you're a little bit out of balance. And when we do a healing, you start to vibrate up towards that level. Just move it down a bit out of my eyes. You start to vibrate at that higher level, you start to feel good, and very often those symptoms will disappear, or perhaps other symptoms you hadn't even thought of. And I think this explains why, I think the Ayurveda explanation of the path to health explains why it works also with energy healing, and how, it's good if you're, a little disclaimer here, if you're under medication, under doctor's treatment, please continue that until you get tested and they say it's okay to change. But very often, if you want to be free from where you're at, having a look back to the cause of what was going on, and we don't have to, so we're not also doing psychology or anything like that. We're not going into the pathway. Somehow we simply lift you to that higher level, and it can shift everything in your life. I've seen it happen so often. I hope this helps. If you want more information or you'd like to share this with someone around you, there might be someone you think would benefit from understanding what this is, you can go to my website, juliejara.com, where I have this video posted and more information. Thank you.